Hello?
So you're back.
When you voice a character in animation, you're really creating the heart of that character.
I'm Coraline Jones. The screen, it's different because you have your body and your face and everything. In this, you just have your voice. You're not listening to me! Ugh. You're doing all these different sounds, which you think you... Am I doing that right? I sound like a complete dork doing that.
Don't even think about going out, Coraline Jones.
But when you put that in the movie, it seems very natural and very real and very normal. Don't even think about going out, Coraline Jones!
Dakota is an incredible actor.
Don't believe me? You can ask the cat.
I love her. I think, oh my God, what a talented young lady.
Cats don't talk at home.
Clearly, you're the expert on these things.
She's awesome. The way our voices interact, it really works well because she's just like, chill and I'm like all hyper and whatnot, and it's really fun.
I heard an ordinary name like Caroline can leave people that have ordinary expectations about a person.
I think I heard someone calling you why born. Oh, I definitely heard someone, why were you born?
I was so honored to get to play her mother. I just think she's adorable and such a wonderful actress. You're just in time for supper, dear.
You're not my mother. My mother doesn't have
buttons? Do you like them? I'm your other mother, silly. Approaching the three characters was really challenging and a lot of fun.
Teri Hatcher actually had quite a challenge to do real mom, angry, short-tempered.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! I never say that in real life.
So we had to push, but believe me, she got there.
I certainly know mom. I know moms, myself included, who have sort of tired and had it, but love their kids. And so where that comes from. We made a deal. Zip it.
Teri plays the other mother. It's just warm and inviting.
Now go tell your other father that supper's ready. Well, go on. Perfect mom. There had to be such ease, really effortless, and so trying to be the person that can lure someone in.
And she does it in a way that's not false. It's like, of course you'd want to hang out with her.
You do like it here, don't you, Coraline?
Uh-huh.
And then evil mom just really takes that just have to let the inhibitions go. Now you're going to stay with me forever!
We've tried it a few different ways. It seems when Teri pulls back and quiets down that it becomes incredibly scary.
Now you're going to stay here forever. Now you're going to stay here forever.
I bet that one's in the movie.
I'm creepy.
I have a terrible case of writer's rash on my...
Doing the voice of an animated character is something I've always wanted to do.
Go!
I mean, I was scared to death. I was nervous to death because I'd never done anything like this before. Maybe I have a virus.
What John brings is this sort of doddering guy. This father is fairly incompetent at many things, but he does it with love.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Largely, you rely on imagination. And luckily, I had just purchased some that morning.
He's a sympathetic character with John Hodgman's voice, and incredibly funny. His delivery is great.
You know, Coraline, this house is 150 years old. So explore it. Go out and count all the doors and windows. Go list everything blue. Just go and let me work. The other father, of course, is sort of this beat-down, bedraggled guy, which is pretty much how I am naturally, so that wasn't a problem. As we were recording the voices, we started moving more and more into this sort of Dean Martin-type voice for the other father.
Hello, Coraline.
He, like everything else in the other world, is made by the other mother in order to please and then finally ensnare Coraline.
Making up a song about Coraline.
In order to vocalize this transformation of the other father from this sort of fun-loving, variety show performer into this amorphous blob of goo that he ultimately becomes, I tried to imagine myself falling apart.
Transformation!
I'm Wybie. Wybie Lovett.
I know personally for me, it's very challenging to do anything with my voice. You know, when I'm acting, it's usually expressions and eyes and whatnot. And I totally don't have like a big expressive voice, so I knew it was gonna be very interesting to try stuff out.
Check out Slugzilla.
Robert Bailey Jr. was able to convey instant likability, but then you have a question mark. Is he a good guy or a bad guy?
Ooh.
Robert just turned out to be the actor that we could hang all those complexities on.
You're crazy.
The part of me that shows up in Wybie is like when I'm being weird and crazy, which is what Wybie is to a certain extent.
He's not really my cat. He's kind of feral. You know, wild.
You used me.
Keith David can blow you away just with the beauty and power of his voice, but we wanted him to go to a slightly different place to bring in a little bit of prissiness and catness. We didn't want this to be a little person in a cat suit.
You must be the other cat.
No! I'm not the other anything. I'm me. I have discovered the life of this character, and I can explore that life.
He did some wonderful, very cat-like things for us.
I can find my inner cat. Meow. You know they pay me to do this stuff.
I am the amazing Bobinski, but you call me Mr. B because amazing, I already know that I am.
This is full-blown, character performance, but God, you'd have to learn the lines.
I, Sergei Alexander Bobinski, am introducing my astonishing, start again. Let's have some tea.
Sure.
It's okay. No, that's acting, that's part of it, you see, you can use it.
There's no camera for a start, so you're not pressed for the frames right, it's not shot right, or the lighting has to be changed, whatever. It's a totally other kind of environment, so it's very freeing.
The mice, they asked me to give you a message. They are saying, do not go through little door. Do not go through little door. You know such a thing?
He's got chops, that guy. There's a bottomless well to his voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, for to tickle your eyes and ears and making hearts, to Tom.
Just a stellar performance.
Very, very thank you.
Miss Spink and Forcible? But you said they're dingbats.
We spent a whole day with Dawn French playing Miss Spink and with Jennifer Saunders doing Miss Forcible.
Who is the taller bustier and ex-sex bombier one of the two?
She'll be having the oolong tea.
I'm sure she'd prefer Jasmine.
Just don't understand the casting, because in real life, I am very much more blonde and very much more taller and have massive bazungis.
I agree on the bazungi front. I can't compete.
They're good for bad things sometimes.
No, they're good for lost things, Miriam.
No bad things. Miriam. You're Miriam.
I'm Miriam. Who are you?
I'm Miriam too.
And at the end of the day, it was good, but it wasn't great, so I reversed their roles.
The director was very disappointed, and said we should swap and try that, and in fact it was immediately better.
She'll be having the oolong tea.
I'm sure she'd prefer Jasmine.
No, oolong.
Jasmine it is, then.
And there's a lot of actors who would have just stalked out of the room. They would have walked off the set and, are you out of your minds? We prepared for this. They took a breath, nodded their heads, we'll try that. And they switched parts. And then everything was great.
Do you know what I did when we switched? I just copied what Jennifer had been doing, but in a deeper voice.
Oh, not to worry, child. It's good news. There's a tall, handsome beast in your future.
Not to worry, child. It's good news. There's a tall, handsome beast in your future. Because she'd already worked out the character. And so she'd done all the work, really. She'd done acres of research. She'd been on it for years. And so I just stole, basically, from everything she was already doing. Which is what I've done my whole career, so nothing new there. Thanks for that, chum.
Yeah.
best in the world.
Loved it, Mr. B. It was so amazing! This whole experience has been really amazing, and I'll always remember it. That was great!
The movie is scary and spooky and filled with creepy crawler things. Rats that are spies, and bugs that are chocolates, and snakes and snails and puppy dog tails.
I have a messy box of rats, and this is kind of how I worked.
Yeah, the bag of rodents.
It started out really organized and quickly became disheveled, but I think that for me, it worked out better that way, just having a pile of rats.
I don't like rats at the best of times.
They're not cute, lovable rats. These are awful, creepy little rats.
The biggest challenge with them is probably also, I think, what sold them as a presence on a screen was their tails. Tails need to be animated. They need to curl around, they need to slither, they need to be tracked and smooth, and they all need to do it. And that probably did drive me crazy on a few days, because they're just, you know, these little curves and keeping a curve flowing and all this stuff when there's 25 of them, sort of greyhounds with worms following them. Because they're creepy and evil, they always had these little kind of crooks in it. A little bit of squareness in a curve is creepy. Makes them kind of menacing, like you wouldn't want to mess with a whippy rat tail. They didn't get to have a full fluffy coat. They got bald patches, so that's always icky. I think rats are underestimated. They're really intelligent. They're probably just about as smart as a cat. They have great potential, rats.
The other mother's transformation is cool yet very scary at the same time. It's like you want to see what she's gonna look like, but then once you see it, she's very creepy looking.
She's a monster.
That is cool, but then it's like, oh, this is not good, kind of. It's a little creepy there.
Creepy, great, fabulous.
Huh.
She's a witch who feeds on children. Now, does she literally eat them? We never say. It's not like Hansel and Gretel where she's fattening up kids to stick them in the oven and there's a definite sense that she literally will eat those children. But when you think about it, she's sure feeding Coraline a lot of good food. She never eats anything herself except for a chocolate beetle. When the other father and Coraline are having these delicious meals, you'll notice there's nothing on her plate. She never takes a bite. So I just feel like she swallows them. Whether that's literally or figuratively, she lives off their energy. She's looking for something to love, and she loves something to eat. They're kind of the same thing. Don't you love your food?
You know I love you.
You have a very funny way of showing it.
The other Mother 3 character, we always knew that her skirt was going to be a challenge because she starts off as this very tall, slender supermodel kind of proportion woman, and then she sort of stretches out into more of a creature.
Apologize at once.
These are a bug collection that influenced us in the making of the other Mother 3. Yes, they are real bugs. I'm really gagging.
That's disgusting.
We looked at them for texture and the way the light reflects off them and the pattern on this bit of them, their wings at the back. This particular one was the biggest influence on the pattern for the other Mother 3.
From that, we worked out how we were going to get the print of all of these panels coming from the carapace. It's all based on this sort of design here.
Ooh, creepy.
Check out Slugzilla.
I heard about Slugzilla probably the second week that I was here. We were having a puppet breakdown meeting, and I thought it was a joke. Then it turns out it was actually real, that there was going to be a Slugzilla character. I was like, I really would like to make that character because we have such things in common. Why not? This is Slugzilla, and it's made with lead wires and different types of silicone. Yeah, silicone and lead, so definitely not safe for children to play with. This is the mold. I just do it layer by layer. Like I'll do the spots first, and then I'll do the hood, and then I'll do the base coat, and then I'll lay the armature in, and then I'll put the rest of the material in on both sides. Make sure there's no air bubbles. Slam it shut. When it comes out of the mold, this is just a wonderful slimy material. It's a silicone, it's translucent silicone. As you brush it on, even though you get brush strokes, it'll smooth out, so then it ends up just looking like glass. You don't want to put it on in big, huge gobs, because it's gonna drip down. And then I'm done. So he's slimy and almost ready for his close-up.
I'm Henry Selick, writer-director of Coraline, and this is the deleted scenes section of the DVD extras. You would hope that every single frame that you shoot for an animated film, especially stop motion, which is so painstakingly handcrafted and brought to life, would end up in the final film. But it just doesn't work that way. Despite all your planning, when you put the whole film together, you discover something's a little slow, something's a little long, the story isn't quite clear, and you end up having to shift things around and cut things. Luckily, in DVDs, they get to live on, and you get to see the things that just didn't quite make it into the final cut of the movie. I hope you enjoy them. This is a portion of a scene that we had to cut out, where a real dad is making one of his disgusting dinners for Coraline. What's cut here is beautifully animated. We have a casserole in the oven where we move little plastic bubbles through the casserole to make it look like it's boiling. We have Dad sort of dancing around and singing a nonsense song to Coraline. It's great stuff. Didn't work in the film, but you get to see it here.
Oh, my twitchy witchy girl. I think you are so nice.
Charlie, I told you to get a laptop.
They giving them away now? My computer's fine, just a dang power outage from the storm.
I can't believe you didn't back up your files. Actually, I can.
Oh, the spell checker's gone screwy too. Maybe I have a virus.
I think dinner might have a virus.
Oh, my twitchy witchy girl. I think you are so nice.
This scene, which I've nicknamed Coraline and the Buggy Roses, was very painful to cut. It was completely finished. There's beautiful details like these buggy roses, which she flops on the table to present to her mom. There's a weird little bug she notices that she flicks through the air. It splashes in Mom's coffee cup. But ultimately, we needed to get Coraline to the other world. And in making things move along, this scene ended up having to be cut.
Coraline, you're dripping all over the floor.
What do you think, Mom? You could put them in the new catalog.
Right.
I really miss Michigan.
You've already made a friend.
Wybie, he's too psycho to be friends with.
I'm sure you'll meet some great kids when you start school here. And, I heard it's uniforms only.
Uniforms? Are you kidding me?
Here, draw a picture or something.
This is the pizza aftermath scene, and it's actually only a partial cut. I needed to steal the dialogue from this moment and stick it in the end of the film. What you get to see is some great animation of Dad playing around with Coraline. What you'll notice, not in this cut material, but what's left in the film, is that Dad, for some reason, has a big pizza stain on his shirt. There's no reason for it. Now that you see this footage, you'll understand how it ended up there.
Here comes a burp.
Ew, gross. Gross-gusting.
Charlie?
Oh, pardon me for enjoying my food, but that pizza was delicious.
So, gonna order the tulips?
What's that?
For the garden party?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dad!
This is the full-length version of the Ghost Kid Angels sequence. When Coraline rescues the ghost children, she meets them again in a dream of hers, and they're golden angels, and everything's right for them, but they have bad news for Coraline. In placing it in the film, we realized it was slowing down the pace. We had to get to the final conflict much more quickly. Everything in here is beautifully animated. The backgrounds are not complete, just the animation is.
Hello.
It's a fine, fine thing you did for us, miss.
Well, I'm glad it's finally over.
It is over and done with. For us.
What about me?
You're in terrible danger, girl. The Beldam lives yet, and she means to take your life.
But how? I locked the door.
It's the key, miss. As long as it can be found, the Beldam will find it.
But it's not fair.
Tain't all bad, miss. Thou art alive. Thou art still living.
Here's the complete version of The Ribbon Mice, animated by just one animator, Amy Adamy, and it took 66 days to animate. Probably it's the longest shot of any in the entire film. This was a moment where Coraline is meant to dream of these mice that come into her dream, and they were going to sort of sing to her and then disappear. And in shifting sequences around in the film, that dream disappeared. We went right to Coraline going to the other world the first time she goes to bed. So this was something I totally love, and in fact, it's at the very end of the end credits of the film, but I'm worried that some people won't stay to see the very end of the end credits, so I wanted to put it here in the extras. This is all hand animated. The rigs that are also animated by hand that support these flat ribbony mice moving through the air are here. Anyway, I think it's eerie and beautiful and unique. You might not have ever seen anything quite like this done in stop motion. Now we've got a montage from the cutting room floor. Actually, there's no cutting room floor, or there's no film on the floor in this film because we shot it all digitally. But these are shots, beautifully animated. They had to go. They were slowing the movie down. They were overstating something. They just weren't helping the movie move along at the pace it needed to be.
April! Where have you got to?
Either way, we lost 3 days, and we're barely going to make deadline now.
All these ribbons and braids and... Your grandma's black, right?
Yeah.
I just met her sister. So you do remember.
We knocked their socks right out of the ballpark.